just got my 24 Freeride on the snow. We just put it together yesterday and it's amazing, you know, just like we expected. The suspension's really good, really hard to tell. There's not a lot of snow yet, not enough to slow Blake down. He's probably gonna run out of gas up here. We'll have to tow him home. So, life lessons. Tear it up, dude. The one thing I did notice that no one really talked about has this really neat ridge for the CVT intake boot there. A couple of these got broke last year. The good thing is these little intake screens are cheap, but they put this little ridge there, so I expect that to kind of solve the issue we were seeing last year. But let's take this thing in the shop and I'll show you a couple other things I do before the season really gets underway. Here we are, we're back in the shop. We don't have a lot of snow left, so that wasn't really a first ride, but I did get to ride one of these in the mountains last year quite a bit. I'll show you right now. So this sled has about 5 miles on it, but I am going to show you a few things I do to the snowmobile as soon as I get it out of the crate. Now for 24, the Freeride has 50% stiffer valving. That is great for jumping big, doing drops. So one thing I do as soon as it comes out of the crate is I pull off one of the sway bar end links. I have a really difficult time side hilling with the sway bar installed. So what's really cool about the Freeride, and it's been like this for almost 10 years now, is it comes with this removable sway bar end link. So I really recommend pulling it off one time and giving it a shot. And if you don't like it, you can just throw it back on. But with this aggressive shock valving, these clickers make a huge difference. So, you know, if it's sitting in your garage and your buddies are playing with this, you will notice if you're unbalanced, like meaning one side's in firm, the other side's in medium. So I would, before you ride every time, see where your clickers are. And that goes for front and rear. If you're gonna do a big jump or a drop, put them into firm, but at least do the ski shocks and the rear track shock. Play around with these a lot and get used to it because it's a great adjustment and it does a lot. We did put the high altitude clutching in this. I just referred to the Ski-Doo high altitude spec sheet, and it's really simple. They ship out at 6,000 feet calibration, and I just went to the 8,000 and above because that's where I ride. I've already done this, but I thought I'd pull the ski off and show you. I do this to every one of my new snowmobiles. They come shipped without the skis in the crate, and here's the ski leg bushing. I put just a little tiny bit of anti-seize on there, especially if you're going to keep your sled for a couple years. Sometimes these are really difficult to get out, so I put a little bit of anti-seize in there, and I center the bushing. So I center the ski on the ski leg. And here's one more thing I do. They ship with these carbides. I don't run a carbide in the mountains. They snag on the shop floor, trash your trailer, and they sometimes catch on rocks in the backcountry. So if you don't have a lot of icy trail to run, this is what I use. It's a Woody's hard weld runner. I put these on literally everything. They fit DS2, DS3, DS4, maybe more, but those are the 3 skis we use around here. It has a hard weld on them. I typically get a season out of them. Maybe you have to switch them halfway through the year, but I do keep these on hand. It's nice. It doesn't trash my shop floor anymore, and they don't snag on rocks in early season. Too impatient to wait for the snow. So put the ski back on with our nice anti-seized ski bushing and our hard welds. We'll tighten it up and we're ready to go. And even though this is brand new, I'm going to go ahead and check chain tension. I've already done this once, but my recommendation is I back it off a little bit so I know it's not the tensioner sticking or the bolt sticking in there or anything. And this is a screwdriver, so not a lot of torque, and that's tight. And I'll keep an eye on this for a couple 100 miles, and then just periodically after that. Again, this is a high bow setup for 24, so I don't expect a lot of movement out of that. Okay, so another thing we did, I already talked about it, but I did change it to the high altitude setup, the 8,000 and above, which only required removing some weight off the pivot bolt, and that sheet is available at your dealer. And then before we put the belt on, I washed the CVTs off with a really mild soap. I used Dawn dish soap, and that's to remove any corrosion inhibitor that they spray on these vehicles. And I washed the belt with, again, Dawn dish soap in the sink, and I let it dry before I install it. If you don't do that, is anything really bad going to happen? Probably not, but I'm trying to get the most life I can out of this belt, and a nice clean CVT setup will accomplish that. And this is the only thing this snowmobile is going to get. So here are a couple things I'm going to do to this snowmobile and one thing I've already done. I am short, 5'5", so I run a 3-inch riser. Really appreciate the 4.7 riser it comes with, but I still prefer a lower one. I think it's from all my time at Snowcross, so their bars are really low. So I run a 3-inch riser, stock Ski-Doo bar. I really like the small diameter grips, and this is a Ski-Doo bar pad. I can't use the mountain bar with this different riser. With the stock Ski-Doo 3.7 I can, so I kind of like to go in between, but I'm going to start with this 3-inch riser for now. And I have the heavy duty air intake kits, so we'll go ahead and install that right now. So 3 little screws, and these just pop off. This is how you get to the coolant reservoir. Never had to fill it on a Gen 5, but it is really accessible, especially with the new intake kit. I haven't ripped one of these yet, but since they make it, I'm going to use it because it's really cool. And while we're here, oh yeah, it feels good. Nice new screen. So this is what's cool about these. These pop off, makes our coolant reservoir accessible, and if these get covered in snow, you can pop them off and just get the snow off easy. But they're a great position. I think if you tear one, you're unlucky, but these are going to be a lot more sturdy. And this snowmobile is going to see a lot of trees. I'm going to call it the tree ride. Click, click. And that's that. Big install. No, it's really easy. It's a T25. Oops, I missed it up there. First day, There we go. Yeah, and they look cool and functional. And that's pretty much it. This thing is ready to ride out of the box. There's just a few little things I like to do before I really put this thing, or punish this thing in the trees. So I'm going to impatiently continue to wait for snow, but here's a little more riding video. Thanks for watching.